Hey gang, and welcome back. These videos are brought to you by Card Conduit, the best place to sell your unused collection fast and easily. 401 Games, Canada's top shop for all your hobby and TCG needs. Dragon Shield, the strongest sleeves for your strongest decks. Moxfield, the easiest way to store and share your deck lists. And Foil Armor, flatten your foils fast. Today's game has Sammy winning the die roll and starting us off. He draws and plays a plains. Arja has a jungle hollow which comes in tapped and gains him 1. Kuzno plays an island. Max has got a polluted delta, cracking it and losing 1 to go and find a surveil land. Sammy just plays a spectator seeding. Arja's got another tap land with a sanguine morass and passes. Kuzno's got an island and pays 2 for ominous seas. Max drops a tap Simic Growth Chamber, bouncing a land back to hand, and then passes, discarding Kinnan, Dean of Substance. Sammy plays a Command Tower and pays 3 for Venat. Arj's land drop is a tap Ajuka Bog, and he exiles Max's graveyard. Kuzno puts a counter onto his seas as he draws a card, then plays an island and casts Sky Diamond. Max takes 2 for an untapped Overgrown Tomb, and plays out an Elvish Archdruid. Sammy's got a Maria Shattered Skyclave, which comes in tapped, and he then casts Kitsa. This draws him a card from Venat, and he passes to Arja. Arja continues with tap lands, playing an Old Growth Grove, and then pays 3 for an Obelisk Spider. Kuzno draws and adds another counter to his seas. He plays an island for turn, and then casts a Spiny Starfish. Max replays a Surveil land, looking at his top card, and puts it to graveyard. He then has 2 green mana to get him a Leaf Crown Visionary. He then taps the Archdruid for 2 mana, casting a Deathrite Shaman, and pays 1 green from the Visionary trigger to draw a card. Sammy's turn has him playing out Gandalf, and he draws a card from Venat. He then plays a tap Thundering Falls, surveilling 1. And Sammy then taps Kitsa to draw and discard a card. Going to combat, he gets the Gandalf trigger, but doesn't use it, and Kuzno shares this tidbit of wisdom.
Shock my starfish.
Arja draws, swings the Obelisk Spider at Sammy, who takes the hit. Arja's second main phase has Blasphemous Act hitting the field, and Kuzno pays to regenerate his starfish. Once Sammy gets priority, he counters the board wipe with a Fierce Guardianship. Arja then plays out an Accursed Marauder, and he makes the table sacrifice a creature, and passes. Kuzno draws and his seas gets a counter. He then casts Stock Up. He follows by playing an island, and then casts Diamond Knight, having picked blue, and passes. Max casts Thranduil in his main phase, and draws from the Visionary trigger. He then plays a Tropical Island, immediately making this into a CDH deck, and passes. Sammy's got Adeliz the Cinderwind, and he draws from Venat as she comes in. He then casts Sten, naming instants as he comes in. He then goes to combat and gets to free cast Jeskai Revelation thanks to Gandalf. And he bounces Thranduil and deals 4 to Max's Visionary, plus makes 2 1/1s, draws 2 cards, and gains 4 life. He also pumps his team by +1/+1. Gandalf then goes at Max, and Adeline and Venat go at Arja. Before damage, Arja casts Virulent Wound on Adeline, with each opponent losing 1 from the Obelisk Spider. They then take their hits, and Sammy passes. Arja's turn has him casting Terminate and targets Gandalf, but Sammy uses Deflecting Swat and switches it to the Spider. Arja then uses an Assassin's Trophy on Gandalf, and it sticks, destroying the creature, and Sammy goes to find a land. Kuzno draws and his seas gets bigger. He's got no lands to play, and casts Immortus. This is the Diamond Knight getting a counter. Going to combat, then I hit Sammy for 2. Max just draws, recasts his commander, and calls it a day. Sammy's turn has him playing Whirlwind of Thought, and he then casts a Wizard Staff, drawing from the enchantment. He then swings Adeline at Max and Venat at Kuzno. They both take their hits, and he passes. Arja's turn is quick with a Blazemire Verge, and then casts an Auntie Ool, shipping it after that. Kuzno draws and puts a counter onto his seas. He then casts Tolarian Winds, giving the knight a counter. He discards 5 and draws 5, putting 5 more counters onto the ominous seas. He's now able to tap Immortus for 6 blue, using some of it for multiversal recruitment, and targets Immortus, making a non-legendary copy of it, plus his knight gets another counter. Kuzno then casts Frantic Search, drawing 2, discarding 2, and untapping 3 lands. He gives even more counters onto his seas, and then activates the token copy of Immortus as power-up. This has the table shuffling their hands and yards in, and drawing a fresh 7. This has Ominous Seas getting another 7 counters. We then see Kuzno casting Dramatic Reversal, and all of his non-lands get untapped, and his knight gets another counter. Kuzno then taps Immortus again for even more mana, and we see a Timeline Inquiry, and he teamworks it with the other Immortus, drawing 3 cards, and his sea gets 3 more. He then plays an island for turn. We then see Stock Up hitting the stack with the knight getting another counter, and Kuzno then continues with multiversal recruitment again, making another Immortus copy. He then plays a Temporal Fissure, getting 8 copies of it, 7 of which are Storm. He hits pretty much all of Sammy's side and Thranduil. Going to combat, he then hits Sammy for 10 with the knight, and passes. Max has got an Arbor Elf coming in, and he then taps his Archdruid to help cast a Retreat to Coralhelm. He then plays his Bojuka Bog, exiling Kuzno's graveyard, and gets to untap the Druid with a Retreat trigger. He then taps it again to help recast his commander, and passes to Sammy after that. Sammy draws, recasts Venet, and then plays a tap Meticulous Archive and surveils 1. He follows up with Hercule, Master Wizard, and gets to draw a card from Venet. Arja's turn has him casting a Black Sun Zenith, putting 3 into the X, and this has Max and Kuzno losing 3, and Sammy losing 2, as Auntie Ool sees their creatures getting a counter put on them. He also gets to draw a card because Auntie Ool sees herself getting a counter as well. Arja then plays a Cabaret Courtyard, sacrificing it and gaining 1 while he goes to find a basic. He then passes, and during the end step, Kuzno activates his seas twice, removing enough counters to make 2 8/8 Krakens. Kuzno draws, plays an island, and casts an Azure Drake. The knight gets a counter, swings it at Arja, and he swings a Kraken apiece at Sammy and Max. They all take their hits. Max plays a Nurturing Peatland and sacrifices it to draw a card. He also gets a retreat trigger and taps down the Drake, and passes. Sammy has Sten coming back in his turn, naming instant and passing. Arja brings out a Wicked Burrow Elder in his main phase, and it comes in with a -1/-1 counter, so Auntie Ool draws him a card. He then plays a Rootbound Crag, and taps it for Llanowar Elves. He makes a deal with Kuzno not to destroy the knight or the seas if he's not swung at this turn, and Kuzno agrees. Kuzno draws and puts a counter onto his seas. He plays an island for turn, and recasts Immortus, with the knight gaining another counter. Going to combat, Sammy casts a Cryptic Command, and taps all of his opponent's creatures and draws a card, with Kuzno passing after that. Max draws and attacks Kuzno for 2, and then plays an Abundant Countryside, untapping Thranduil as it comes in. He then casts Galadriel, the Elven Queen, and passes to Sammy. Sammy plays out Deserted Beach, and then casts Kakar. He follows up by recasting the Wizard Staff, making a Spirit token from Kakar, and passes. Arja untaps and draws. He plays an Evolution Sage, and then a Carplusian Forest, proliferating on his Elder and Thranduil. This has Max losing 1, and Arja drawing a card from Auntie. He then casts an Incremental Blight, targeting Immortus with a 2, Kaikar with a 3, and the 1 doesn't matter because Kuzno uses 3 steps ahead to counter it. This has Kuzno giving the knight another counter. Arja then passes turn. Kuzno draws, and his seas gets a counter. He plays an untapped Mystic Sanctuary, and he puts 3 steps ahead on top. He goes to combat, and swings the knight at Sammy, while a Kraken and a Azure Drake go to Arja, and the other Kraken goes at Max. Arja moves to block with the Llanowar Elves, and before damage, taps it and removes a counter from the Wicked Burrow Elder to destroy the seas. Before letting it destroyed, Kuzno removes enough counters to make another Kraken. Sammy and Max also block. Arja then takes 2 from the Drake. Kuzno's second main phase then has him activating Immortus, and the table once more shuffles their hand and graveyard in for a fresh 7. Kuzno then plays Deduce, and he gives the knight a counter, drawing a card as well, and since it wouldn't be a Kuzno deck, makes a clue token. He then casts Flow State, and the knight gets bigger. Kuzno then finishes his turn with a Kraken's Eye, and passes. Max draws her turn and is delighted. He casts Marwyn the Nurturer, and then plays out Tyvar, Jubilant Brawler, but Kuzno counters it with a counterspell. Max cries, and Kuzno gains a life. Going to combat, Galadriel triggers, and Max picks Draw, while Sammy picks a counter, and Arja and Kuzno also pick Draw. This is Max drawing a card. He then plays a Dimir Aqueducts, which comes in tapped and bounces a land. He also gets to tap the Knight with the retreat trigger. Sammy's got a Plains, and taps enough for Gandalf. This is Kuzno gaining 1. Sammy then gears up Gandalf with the staff, and moving to combat, free casts Ancestral Vision with the first Gandalf trigger. This is Kuzno gaining 1, and Sammy making a Spirit from Kakar, and then drawing 3. The second trigger has Sammy putting out Elminster's Simulacrum, and he makes a token copy of the Evolution Sage, the Kraken token, and Max's Galadriel. This is Kuzno also gaining another life, and Sammy making a Spirit token from Kakar. He then passes while discarding down to 7. Arja's turn has him playing out a Fume Spitter, and he then casts a Deathreap Ritual. He plays itself for his Springs, and proliferates from the Evolution Sage. This has him giving another -1/-1 counter to his own Elder, and he draws a card from Auntie Ool. He then removes a counter from the Elder, and blows up the Knight. He then passes turn, drawing in the end step from the Ritual trigger. Kuzno draws, and cracks a clue to draw again. He then plays out a Slickshot Lockpicker, which allows him to cast Flow State, gaining another life from the Kraken Eye. He follows up with a Frantic Search again, gaining another 1. He then taps Immortus for 4 mana, and uses it to help cast Capsize with Buyback to bounce his commander back to hand, gaining another 1. Kuzno then casts a Diamond Mare, and going to combat, sends a Kraken at each opponent. This is Max taking 8, and Arja blocks with a Fume Spitter and then sacrifices it, while Sammy chumps as well. Arja puts a -1/-1 counter onto his own Elder, and draws another card from Auntie Ool. Kuzno then passes, and Arja draws again from his ritual during the end step. Max draws and plays a Priest of Titania. He gives Marwyn a counter, and then casts Dionysus, giving Marwyn another counter. Max then follows up with a Well-Wisher, and Marwyn continues to grow. Marwyn is then tapped for mana, which has a Dionysus trigger giving her a counter and untapping her. He follows up by playing Lightning Greaves, and then plays out Gwenna, giving Marwyn another counter. He moves to equip Gwenna with the Greaves, but Arja responds by removing a counter from the Elder and blows the Greaves up. Max then taps Marwyn again, and he uses the mana to help cast Eldamri Krobekthal. He then replays his Tropical Island, becoming a CDH deck again, and he untaps Marwyn again with the Retreat trigger. Going to combat, Galadriel triggers, and Max picks Draw, but everyone else picks Counter. He gives the Priest of Titania the ring and the counter. He then swings Galadriel at Kuzno for 5, because she gets untapped with Dionysus and gets a counter, and Max passes. Sammy plays out a Hollowed Fountain, taking 2. 5 mana then gets him Leer, with Kuzno gaining 1 from the Kraken Eye. Sammy then goes to combat and gets 2 Gandalf triggers. The first has him casting Surge to Victory, and he exiles Elminster's Simulacrum. Gandalf gets 2 prowess triggers from the spell, and he gets a Spirit token from Kakar, and his board is then pumped by +6/+0. His second spell is an Akroma's Will, getting Gandalf 2 more prowess triggers, and another Spirit token. He's then able to swing out and take everyone out in 1 combat step, and wins the game. Game review time. So that was pretty sweet. I always love a Surge to victory, and yeah, Akroma's Will was probably the thing that really pushed him over the edge though. I don't think Sammy casting 1,000,000 copies of Ilminster's Simulacrum, should they have connected, really would have pushed him over the top, but it certainly wouldn't have been bad. Other than that, I thought Immortus, consider it was a bracket 2, was particularly fun, and Kuzno was making so much mana. This video wouldn't be possible without the help from my sponsors, but it definitely wouldn't be possible without the help from you, the viewers, and my patrons. So I just want to say thank you for watching, and to remember, friends are just opponents you haven't eliminated yet.